Number 15. Monster Fish. This scary monster fish is the thing nightmares are made of. A mysterious white fish with pink gills and fins, no eyes, and the type of fangs that make you not want to touch it with a 10-foot pole. The person then puts the pole, which has a hook on the end, in the fish's mouth. It clamps down hard and won't let go for a few shakes. When it does abandon the hook, it just twitches there on the floor of the fishing boat. If you look closer, you can see the teeth are actually protruding from outside of its mouth. The scary catch happened in Thailand. You might think these eel-like albino fish are native to the area, and therefore aren't so surprising to locals, but apparently this creature was even puzzling for the Thai fishermen. Equally strange, the fact that the fish was able to survive outside of the water for a prolonged duration. The discovery left many guessing what this species might be. Number 14. Claustrophobia trigger. If you're claustrophobic, get ready to think happy thoughts. Joey TV posted this video of some extremely tight caving in December of 2015. Joey notes that the boulders in the narrow passageway of the cave are just chilling, and all hanging out overhead waiting to fall and crush him. The mouth of the cave appears to be a not very big hole in a nearly vertical wall of rock. Joey climbs inside and somehow the cave seems even smaller. He says the main tunnel branches off into many other tunnels, but from the looks of it, are all equally narrow and seemingly impossible to navigate. But he and his friend make the impossible possible, crawling through the narrowest of gaps, squeezing through the smallest of holes. There is no panicking, because doing so might be the end of them. Instead of climbing down to suspended rock that leads to a watering hole deep within the cave, the cavers decide to stay on the cave floor and not risk rocks breaking away on them. They choose to go through the bunny hole. This route is aptly named. The passage is barely larger than an actual rabbit hole. A coffin looks roomier. The boys literally have to wiggle next. Me neither. This noise coming from behind. The original upload of this video was deleted, but was luckily saved by other YouTubers. The creature who's been living behind his radiator starts to rattle it and makes a squeaking noise, prompting the camera to peer behind it into the darkness. After several minutes of peering and not seeing, the camera seems to focus in on something more distinguishable. An eye at the bottom of the radiator appears. It doesn't look like a mouse eye or the eye of any other small rodent, but rather the eye of a human-like creature. The sound of a monkey erupts. Watch it if you're brave, but be ready to jump. Number 12. Escalator malfunction. We've all seen mall escalator videos that make us cringe. This is perhaps the worst of them. At a mall in China, two mall staff rode the escalator in July of 2015. Everything seemed perfectly normal until one of them stepped off the top rising stair and her foot caught on a ridge on the metallic platform. The pair turned to see what might have happened, just as another woman, carrying her child, comes up the escalator. It's unclear if the mall staff warned the mother, as they stood there watching, but whatever the case, the platform gave way beneath her and her child, as a metal plate unhinged. The woman did not escape. Blame was placed on both the mall and the escalator beneath her and her child, as a metal plate unhinged. The woman did not escape. Blame was placed on both the mall and the escalator manufacturers, according to the BBC. Whatever the case may be, it can never change the events of that day. Number 11. Wedding day helicopter ride. If you have a heart, this entry will break it. It was this woman's dream to arrive at her wedding by helicopter. She decided to surprise her husband at the altar by doing just that. Alongside her brother in July of 2017, she climbed aboard the copter. The flight took off in Brazil, just 1 mile from the reception venue. The excited bride-to-be and her brother are both smiling at the beginning of the video as they take off. But soon they're swallowed up by fog, an alarm starts going off and the camera begins to shake.
明日之後 so you get to shoot zombies and stuff like that. And most importantly, they have a feature.
You can hear the passengers screaming as the pilot loses control of the copter. All 4 pass away in the incident. When the copter didn't arrive at the venue after 15 minutes, Despite the organizers being informed of its liftoff, the pastor was forced to tell the groom the devastating news, as neither he nor any of the other 300 guests had known about the planned entrance. The incident came as an absolute horror to the entire wedding party. It's painful to imagine and harder to watch. Number 10. My House Walkthrough, published by Nana825763 in October of 2016. This eerie video shows what could be a scene of something frightening. This is not horror video, the Japanese YouTuber writes. This video was created simply by filming inside my house. In the video text, he says he was awakened by wind in the middle of the night as a typhoon shook his home in Japan. His bedroom is a simple mattress on the ground surrounded by water-damaged walls. In his home is a long hallway and a Hina doll room. At one end of the hallway is an altar for his ancestors. Another long hallway is beyond yet another doll room, a room that was sealed up by his grandfather. Arriving back at his room, the tour continues down another hallway, a dress room to the left, also sealed off by his grandpa. Another turn and he's at the longest hallway in the house again. His grandmother's room is on the right, also closed off by his grandfather. The tour continues down more and more hallways, or perhaps the same hallways, the roof peeling and leaking from the water damage, rats' nests above the ceiling. Next is a room full of rotten dolls, as no one has entered the doll room in a long time. Nana keeps noting that his grandmother isn't here, although he never says where she is. What happened to her? Entering his grandmother's room, he notes how it still has no taste. Her shoes are lined up on the floor, and a pink still form on the bed. Grandma is here, Nana writes. Later, when back at the bathroom, you find grandfather is there as well. Both send chills up your spine. This video is nerve-wracking. The eeriness and repetitive nature of touring the hallways, walking round and round in circles, seeing the same stuff and then repeating the same descriptions, and every once in a while, being introduced to new things that you never wanted to see. With every opening of a sliding door, you expect something. You don't know what, but something. And yet the tour continues round and round the maze of hallways until you see what will stay in your nightmares for years to come. Number 9. Great Grandma. DJ Def Joey has one question. Is it against the law to keep the coffin with a body in your own yard? I would think so, but I'm not going to judge. The YouTuber published his video in October of 2010 writing, I would like to share with you all about my old video of my great grandma's coffin in her own backyard. And just as you suspected, behind him under a big blue tarp is his great grandma's coffin. If that's not creepy enough, Grandma has been passed away since 1945, as Joey explains. He then flashes back to another video he filmed in 2008, so we can have the full backstory behind this coffin. The reason he's hosting his grandma is that the graveyard where she was buried was poorly managed and corrupt. It closed down. Joey wants to reveal what his grandma looks like today. After wandering around the casket, he lifts the lid open. Inside is his grandma, dressed in white. Her black hair is spread across the pillow, though there appears to be no intended creepiness from the uploader. That last action is enough to creep almost everyone out. Number 8. The Failing Engine. When two young pilots were forced to make an emergency landing, they pulled off an amazing one that had experienced pilots praising their efforts. The light plane the pilots were flying lost power near Victoria Point in Brisbane, Australia. Once the power went, they tried to get the power going again, but ended up calling back to the airfield tower to inform them that they were forced to make an emergency landing. He then started searching for a decent place to land. They ended up gliding down into a barbed wire fence. There wasn't much opportunity for a safe landing, and they barely avoided a nearby pump house. Hopefully, these two exceptional pilots didn't let this scary incident deter them from their flight careers. Number 7. Ghost Girl Head. There's only one thing scarier than a ghost sighting. A ghost sighting you. That's what Garmets1 claimed to have caught on video in a churchyard. in Estholt, United Kingdom. The footage opens on a shot of a church. After panning down, the distinct figure of a girl peering around the corner of the building comes into view. She quickly darts back and out of sight, and when pursued has disappeared into thin air. The shot pans back to the corner, up the building and around, but the ghost girl is nowhere in sight. Whether you're a believer in the paranormal or a skeptic, this video will make you look twice. Number 6. Have you ever felt like something was watching you? Alton Mene Severo posted this video in January of 2006 of an unexpected visitor while playing with his webcam. This dude is being watched by an otherworldly creature from his doorway. Unbeknownst to him, you can see the outline of the figure lurking and lurching creepily in the hallway before it vanishes into the darkness. When this guy finally notices the figure in his webcam, he gets up to investigate, and he's never seen or heard from again. I made that last part up. I have no idea what this investigation turned up, but I do know one thing. I sure wouldn't want to run into whatever that thing was in the darkness. Number 5. How to make a homunculus. First of all, what is a homunculus? The dictionary states it's a very